Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat. I am here today to start a new journal. I am going to make a journal out of this this book. We're going to make an altered book. Just thought I'd try to confuse you right off the bat. So I have already torn out a bunch of pages from this book. And I will give you an idea of how I do that. So I choose a book that's roughly 300 pages. It can be a little bit less, but I don't like them to be a whole lot more. I mean, they can be, it will take a really long time to cover and, you know, do all that with it. So I would choose a book that's roughly 300 pages. I just realized I still have ink on my finger. I was preparing some stuff, ink in this and stuff. But anyway, yeah, that would be my advice on choosing a book. Okay, and then I flip in about, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages, just depending on what is in here. Like, see, these are pretty blank, so I like to use these, you know, more blank ones. And then you have your first page before you start tearing. Now what I'm going to do is put these 2 pages together and they'll make a pocket, which will in turn make 1 page in the journal so that you're not seeing all these torn out pages. So what I do is, much like Gail does, and it was Irina, I think, that first did these. But anyways, I save, like, you flip 2 pages, tear out 8. Flip 2, tear out 8 is the way I did this one. You can do 5 to 10 roughly, is, you know, try to keep it within that amount depending on the size of your book. And then flip 2 pages, tear out 8. So you just keep doing that and tearing and going. And if you make a mistake, which I did in this one, or if your book doesn't cooperate with you, which was what happened here, I tore out 8, I flipped my 2 pages, and it was actually another page I had flipped, and I started to tear out this page. Well, this page, which happens sometimes, it's like the way they're bound together, it ended up tearing into this page. So then I had to tear out, you know, one of my 2 flipped pages. So I have torn pages here, and I have a just, you know, the singular torn page here. Well, I don't want to see this still. So I've got torn pages here, and I've only got 1 page in between. So I'm going to make a pocket out of these 2 so that those ripped pages are gone. And then I'm folding this one over, and it's going to be like a double pocket. It'll probably load from the side, and then it'll have another pocket here. Or I could fold it down, like, not quite as far, you know, something like that, and make like a triple pocket that way. So there's little things you can do. So don't, if you tear one out you didn't mean to, don't stress about it. You can usually fix whatever has happened, and it's not a big deal. So then I went back to, there's my 1 page, tore out 8 pages, and then I have 2. Okay, so I know it's confusing because there's 2. Why are there 2? Well, 1 gets glued to this side and 1 gets glued to that side, and so that gives you a clean center part. When you're tearing them out, don't try to clean up all of this. I mean, I do it too. You know, you want to like get in there and get that out. But the problem is it'll mess up the integrity of your book. So I know it's hard, but just leave those. I mean, if you got a big old flapping piece, you can, you know, tear it off, that kind of thing. But try to just leave those alone, because if you start picking them out, the integrity of the book, it'll just start falling apart because they're just glued in back there. So what this does, when you leave that, you can see it's leaving the pages, like it's sort of like playing a sneaky game on the book. It doesn't know that the rest of its page is gone, because these ones are all here still holding up the integrity of the spine. So that's what you need. Okay, so I ended near the end. Imagine that. Okay, so I have my, let's see, what did I do? I don't even remember what I did. Oh, I think that's where I was going to stop tearing, because it's not quite 8 pages. I think it was 7 in order to have a couple pages at the end. So let me find where my last torn page. So those are torn, so I want to turn this one and this one, and then I'm going to tear all these out to where this card is, and I think that's 7. So all I do is start at the top, and sometimes you got to kind of put your thumbnail up there just to get it started in the right spot, and it still doesn't always start in the right spot, and then just try to rip it fairly evenly down. And I stack my pages this way and that way because it helps me keep track, because sometimes I get tearing and I'm like, wait, how many pages did I tear? And so then I can count and see how many I tore. If I stack them all on top of each other, you know, you get near the end of the book and you have a whole stack, so that makes it hard. So that's why I do it, you know, this way and that way, just to make it so I remember. So the last time I tore out pages, I put them this way. This time I'm putting them that way. So just get that tear to go, and like, okay, so see, it's trying to tear out other pages, so then I use this card. I'm actually going to take this card and stick it here, and this just helps it from, and you need about 5 hands, tearing other pages, hopefully. It's hard to tell if it's tearing the one in front of it or the one behind it, so. And the problem is these are cheap books. They're dollar store books, which I like to use because generally they don't always have, you know, the best content in the whole wide world. So see, it took out that whole little section right there. But I didn't have a lot of that happening in this book, so I don't think it's going to be a problem for that one little corner. But yeah, we're getting to the end, so it can be tricky. But I like to use dollar store books. One thing, I love the pages because it sounds crazy, but they're kind of like cheap, but they are super soft. And I like making pockets and stuff with them. So you just gotta just deal with them, I guess. Like try to finagle a way to make it work. So I'm just sticking this card in behind where those other torn pages are and kind of pressing down to try to hopefully get it to tear normal instead of way down in the spine. The front and the back are probably the kind of trickiest pages. Once you get going into the center, it's pretty easy. And like just right there, it started to tear crazy from the top, like it was just going to do this, so I started tearing from the bottom, and that'll help, you know, keep it a little more even. That's all going to be covered, so it's not that big of a deal. And if you don't like some of the little bits that are loose, tear those off. But just don't try to pick all that out of there, because I've done that, and then the book just kind of falls apart. So, because it bugs me. I want it all out of there, but it just helps the integrity of the book. So just try to not do that. Okay, so now I have all my pages torn out. I can have this glued together to make a page, and then I'll have a few blank pages at the back to write on or whatever. So now I have my book all with all the pages removed. And I know that seems like a lot of pages because I'm technically only going to have about, well, it's more than 14, but 14 of the double pages, you know, with the pockets and that. So, but that's a good amount, because by the time you start sticking pockets in and all that, it's gonna alligator mouth a little bit, and this spine is only this big. So that's why I do it that way. It seems like a lot, but just tear them out, because if you have too many pages, it doesn't work either. Sorry, I needed a sip of water there. Okay, so now I have all these pages that I can use for glue, and now I can make them all go the right way. It doesn't matter now, but I just do that because I'm a dingling and I get tearing away, and then I'm like, wait, how many pages did I just tear out? So it just helps me keep track much better. So I can use these for gluing, I can use them to make pockets, whatever. And if there's bad words, I apologize, didn't write the book, just using it. So I can't always control that. I'm going to be using Allie's Mademoiselle, and then her basic gray and her faux fabric. And I've made some postcards. These are from her daughter, has a digital kit that is some photographs that she took. And then she has the backs of these, you know, this postcard image. so that you can make your own postcards. And so I stamped just some script on the front, and I don't know if you guys can see that at all, and folded the corners, and I did, you know, that whole thing, and then I inked all over, and the same on the back. You can see where I, you know, when you go like that, it like wrinkles the pages. So anyways, that is that, but these are the other ones that are in this particular kit. So they're very pretty, and they do make pretty postcards, and you can add more stuff to them and whatnot. And I'll leave you links in the description box for stuff if you're interested. Okay, so like I said, we're going to use her, Tickled Pink, Mademoiselle, the basic gray, I think is what she calls that one. That's a newer one. And faux fabric, I think, is all of those. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to set these over here. I'm going to make a pocket. Sorry, I'm trying to decide. Do I want to start putting pages in here? I probably should, so I can kind of show you how I do that. I may leave these. I don't mind them at all. They're like kind of, they look a little bit flecky, like, you guys aren't going to be able to see that because my light's so wacky. But there's just little like flecks in the paper, and it's kind of pretty, so I don't really mind that. I may end up changing it, but for now we'll start with this page right here. So I just choose a paper, and I think I might use one of these. Oh, excuse me. Hold on just a minute. Let me get that. Okay, hi, so I'm back. So I did do a couple things. I had a phone call. I know I had to take that call. But anyways, it's the next day. So I have put this page on here. I just tore it out and glued it on and left a little bit of a border. And then the same with these two pages. That's all I've done. I haven't done anything else. So when you're gluing these books together, you want to make sure, you can see this gap right here. When the book opens, it pulls the pages this way, and so they naturally come apart, especially because I ripped out a bunch. So you want to make sure when you put your glue on, like I'm going to put glue along here and along there, I'm going to almost close the book to glue it, because then that will bring those pages close together again. So you just want to make sure that you do that. Sorry, I was just noticing there's a tear there, but I think when I glue it, that'll work. And we're going to have this as a side load pocket. So, or sorry, these two, side load pocket. So it'll just be glued here and here. So let's go ahead and do that. So again, if I didn't say it before, which I may not have because I just get going, you know, I hope you're all having an awesome day and doing well and healthy and safe and all those good things. Enjoying a little creative time. I think we all definitely need it. At least I do. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, and like I said, I want to really try to make sure that those meet as much as possible. I mean, there is going to be some variation, this book especially, because it's got those pages that are bigger and smaller, you know what I mean, like that kind of feathery edge page. So that will give me a little bit of wiggle room, you know, because they're not all going to be perfect, because some are naturally longer than others. So, but you just want to try, obviously, to get it as together as you can. See, now this page is just a tiny bit over that one, but that's kind of the way this book is. If you look here, and I should have shown you when I had all the pages, but you can see they're all different kind of lengths. You know how they do those? So anyway. Okay, so now I just have, oops, let's make sure it's glued before we go tugging on it, Amy. This kind of softer paper does tend to use a little more glue, or require more glue, I should say. And really the trick with altered books, what I've discovered, is to use as little glue as possible. That's really the trick to keeping them from warping weird and doing weird things. That's why I've tried to do the ones where you like just glue whole entire pages together, and that just doesn't work for me at all. It just gets too wavy, and I just don't like the outcome. So this is my preferred way of doing it. This is how Gail Augustinelli does it, and Irina, who I first learned to do this from. So it's just best, even if you're going to just entirely glue 2 pages together, just go around the edges. Don't try to put glue all over the page, because often you're going to get warping, you're going to get bubbles, and it just doesn't end up looking very nice. So I really think this is the best way to do it. So I'm going to put a thumb notch. I think I'm actually going to use a bigger thumb notch for these, because I know that it'll cut this paper, because it's, I just want a little bit bigger notch. I'm hoping that's about center. I got a little, I thought I would cut it. There it goes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ink that a little. And then, so I'll go through and basically do that all through the book. And I do like to ink these little, you don't have to, you can leave them just the color of the book page. But I like to give them a little bit of ink. In the middle, not a ton, just, you know, just to give it that little bit of more age. Okay, so there's that one. And then I thought over on this page we could add some of this paper from Allie's Tickled Pink. Sorry, I got a glue blob there. I know everybody says to open this, and it's really full is the problem, because I did go ahead and fill it up, so I think that's more the issue now. Before it was like there was an air bubble in there. All right, so let's take a piece of that and tear it down to size. And I just kind of wing that, you know, when I'm tearing. I think this is supposed to go this way, but this is in her Tickled Pink anyway. I'll leave links, like I said. Okay, and I want it about here. That's my fancy measuring system. It's about, I think it was 5 1/4 is what I measured it. So we can get a little bit better at our measurements here. It's a little bit wide. So I'm going to go over here. That page is a tiny bit wider. I think I did tear that one down just a little bit more because of the way that the pages are. That one's a little bit wider. So you just got to kind of play around with it and figure out, you know, how long it needs to be and all that. And they don't have to be completely 100% the same size. If you want them that way though, and you don't like the torn edge and you like a cleaner edge, then just go ahead and cut them all exactly the same size. And that'll give you that neater, cleaner look. I just like the torn edge look, so that's just my own preference. So just a little more off of this edge. I'm going to turn you guys really quick so you can see Pasha just for a minute. If I can get it to turn that far. It's kind of a weird angle, I know, but he's sitting in his box over there on my desk. He's such a nerd. Sorry, I think I... Ooh, okay, just don't touch it anymore. But yeah, he likes to hang out while I do this stuff for some reason. It just always has to be where the action is. He was asleep in my closet, but we call that his room because it's a walk-in closet, and he loves to sleep in there on the floor. I don't know why, but that's, I think it's all the clothes, the smell of clothes or whatever he must like. But yeah, he just sleeps in there on the floor. So I call it his room. Move these extra pages out of the way. Got stuff everywhere because everybody's been up here using the Glowforge and stuff, so I've got people's things everywhere. that definitely takes a learning curve. So I would just tell anybody, just make sure you really look into it before, if you are thinking about getting one of those, because yeah, it's not that hard to download files that already exist, but if there's anything that you want to do yourself, it's very difficult to make files. I mean, for those of us that, if you're technologically, you know, good at technology, you're not going to have a problem, but I am not, so for me it's very difficult. I mean, they are super cool. You can cut just about anything out that you can get the picture of on there, but I did make a tag pocket thing this weekend. It took me all day Saturday to figure that out. The entire day. Just to get a tag. You know, one that I made myself kind of thing. So, yeah, kind of silly. Kind of silly. So then I have a piece of one of the postcards from Allie's daughter. And like I said, I'll leave that link below too. It's just the back part. I just wanted that old paper look. We're kind of going for that same pocket as we made last week to put in the tomb of ideas, or however you say it. A tome. It's a tome, not a tomb. And then, so this is from Allie's Digi as well, this invoice piece. Or that one's in the Pretty in Pink. So it's not in Mademoiselle, but it's in the Pretty in Pink. Ink, the hell you need to ink all these. I'm just going to call that my idea book. How's that? And then this is a piece of, I think it's dictionary page, also in Allie's Tickled Pink, that she's dyed with some, you know, pink dyes. And then this voucher's in there too. So what I think we're going to do, because I kind of want this to have more, even more layers, but they're not all going to be pockets, if that makes any sense. I'll kind of try to make that a little bit more clear here. I had this book page. So I want to give it a little bit more stability, right? So I'm going to, actually I'm going to just go ahead and back this on a regular book page. Just one of these that I tore out of the book. So that's the good part. You can definitely just use those book pages for ephemera. If you don't have a lot of stuff, you could coffee dye these. You know, so this is actually, doing an altar book is how I started, because to me it just seemed easier at the time than trying to figure out how to sew in signatures and do all that. So yeah, that's why I did it like that. And I'm putting it a little askew because I'm going to go ahead and tear the edges and I'll ink it so it just looks like another sort of a layer, small layer back there. But yeah, I started with an altar book and I ruined it. So don't feel like, if you mess up one, don't feel like, you know, you just can't do it, because you totally can. You just gotta try it again. I tried to get it too full, and that's why I'm telling you, really, truly, honestly, just tear the pages out. I know it seems like there's nothing left when you do that, but if you get a book with 300 pages, roughly, and you tear out 8, leave 2, tear out 8, leave 2, that whole thing like I talked about at the beginning of this video, you will end up with a decent sized journal, and it won't be too big, because the first one I made was too big and it just was a mess. So you just don't want to get it too big. So this is just going to kind of go in here, and this is going to be a pocket, so I'll go ahead and put a notch at the top of this one. Use the smaller notch size. Okay, and then I'll use the invoice next, because it's the next largest piece, and it will also be a pocket. So I'm going to do like that, but I want a piece of paper behind it. Do you want out, Pasha? He scares me when he's in this box because he just tries to bail And it's like, you're gonna hurt yourself. And this is old book page, but if you don't have old, just use a newer one and like ink it or coffee dye it or whatever. It's not a big deal. I kind of want some of those letters and things. I'm gonna do something like this behind this just to, I don't know if that's going to be big enough. I just kind of want another, I want to make sure it's stable for a pocket. I'm just going to rip that part straight. Okay, let's see here what we can do. Sorry, my throat's all yucky again today. I always struggle with my asthma and everything more in the winter. It's the cold, I think, does that. And then I'm just going to put this piece, I might as well make another piece stick out. Let's use a piece of ledger. That'll work. So see, the cool part about doing these pockets, they definitely do not have to be perfect at all. You can just wing it however you want. And I don't even know, like, this is just me playing because I just saw those collages and that's kind of what is driving this whole crazy piling junk up thing and turning it into pockets. I have another one for tomorrow too. Okay, so it's going to go kind of like that. And we could even take this piece and just kind of, actually I wanted to see the postcard, didn't I? Yeah, so maybe I won't do that with that one. Okay, so let's put a notch at the top. You could do side notches too, so you don't have to do all top loading pockets. That's just kind of the way I'm doing this one. But yeah, definitely you could do them however. So I'll do that one there. And then we'll have a shorter pocket using the dictionary page, and that, I think, I just don't want these to tear, so I think I will stick another piece of paper back behind that. And again, like I said, if you don't have old book page, you can use dictionary page. You could use, like if you have, words, Amy, old kind of magazines, you know, the old magazines that have just regular, almost like newsprint pages. Something like that would work. But yeah, just use what you have. You don't have to have old stuff. I'm going to do a thumb notch on that one. And then this envelope will be, you know, and this envelope's in her digi. So let's put that together. I don't think that needs to be reinforced. It's such a tiny pocket. It's not going to be holding a whole lot anyway. Well, none of these are, I guess, but so what I'm going to do is just like we did with that other one. And again, I apologize if there's bad words. This is dollar store book, and I don't know if it does or doesn't, but kind of put it in the middle, I think. I'm so far behind on watching videos. I was doing so good about making videos ahead, and I just have gotten behind again. I might even just take it over off the side. Nobody says it has to be on top of the other one, right? If you're not making it as its own freestanding pocket, then it doesn't matter. I see this here. I'm going to put just a little glue under it. because I don't want it to be catching on whatever we're putting in and out. I'm just going to put this one kind of like this. And this one's going to go like that. And then the little envelope can kind of maybe go off to this side a little bit more. How to make a pile of junk. And you could even put some other layers of things, you know, however. I'm just going to put glue kind of all over this, just because I don't want to be catching edges all the time, because it is a little bit lower, right, than it would be otherwise if you turned it around the other direction. I turned this one the opposite direction of the envelope we used the other day, because this has the little stamp and stuff on the front that Allie has on there. So I flipped it around the other direction. So you got to make sure you get glue so it's not grabbing whatever you're putting in and out of it. Just going to go that same way. I need to make sure I didn't glue that closed. Because would it really surprise anybody? Probably not. Okay, so I've got a pocket there, I've got a pocket there, I have a pocket there, and a pocket there. Okay, so that's lots of nice little pockets. I'm going to go ahead and put a little more glue right here. Okay, I like it. Maybe we can find a little flower or something. I do need to make some tags for that. And I, of course, don't have a whole lot. I mean, I have some of these would work. These are Carry the Crafters. They would look pretty. Or I can cut, oh, I can cut out some of Allie's stuff. Sometimes I'm real smart. I like these two. And I could have used that one too, that postcard one, but we can use it somewhere else. I was going to put these out last night and I didn't get that far. We were, like I said, we've been messing with this printer stuff for a while, and I got watching a show with my daughter. Darn Netflix, I'm telling you. Some days. Most of the time I'm fine. I don't watch a whole lot of TV unless I watch it with somebody. But my husband and my son were printing out a map on the 3D printer on some wood, and so my daughter and I were watching Bridgerton. I don't know. I have no idea. It's kind of a silly, what is that? Regency period, I think, show. I don't know. It's goofy, but anyway. And some of it's not very appropriate, but what is anymore? Good luck trying to find a program that is appropriate. I'm going to put this on a piece of book page, and I'm going to back it as well. I could have just printed them on cardstock, but I didn't, so that's unfortunately the way that goes. And I won't poke the hole or anything until I get it all how I want it here. But yeah, so yeah, I was just hankering to do an altered book, and I thought, well, that might be good because I've got some new people and they might want to know how to do it. And I know for a lot of you this is all old news, but it's always good to think about and remind you to maybe do one yourself kind of thing. I'm going to back it up. I got all kinds of junky paper here. I could back it with one of Allie's things too. There's all different things. That will work. So yeah. I like the other day when I was gluing and I just switched out pages. I think I'm going to do that again because I only ended up using a couple of pages, so that was mucho better when you just let them dry and then use another one and then just keep switching between the two. And a lot of you had great ideas. I need to go to the dollar store and get like 2 of those plastic cutting boards. I never thought about that, but that was a great idea, and I think that was Susan, and if I'm wrong I apologize, but I think it was Susan that gave me that idea. 2 of those really thin plastic cutting boards, and just do this, what I'm doing with the book pages, and just go back and forth between the 2. And then, you know, when you're all done, like when I'm done with my video, I could just wash them both off. So that's actually a great idea, because I have used my little glass cutting. It's just a little circle there, and it works great, but you know, in the middle of a video I can't just keep stopping and going to wash, you know, that little glass board off. So or you know, you could probably find some type of plastic garbage to use too. I mean, not out of the garbage can, but before you throw it away. I'm not going to go digging through the trash. I have my limits. I didn't do a very good job right there, did I? Okay. That's good, and then we just need to hole punch it. And I just have the handy dandy old hole punch, nothing fancy. Alright, do I have any... I'm not sure where my hole protectors are. I thought they were in this box. Again, this is what happens when you move stuff around. I think I would have found those by now, but I don't know what I did with them. So for now, we'll leave it. I'll find them when the video's done. And put a hole protector on there. Put ink in there. Oh, hold on just a second. The cat wants out of the room. I have the door closed because my daughter's on a Zoom call. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. I just don't want the door open if she's on, because she's doing classes, and I don't want them listening to me jabber away. But I don't want him going to the bathroom in here either. That would be bad. Okay, let's see what we got. Is there another one that would fit? I don't know if she's got smaller ones here. Probably. This one looks a little smaller. Very pretty Victorian ladies on these. I love that. And we'll be adding some different stuff. This one fit on here. Yep. So that's kind of how I thicken my tags if I'm, you know, if I've printed them on regular paper or whatever, which I quite often do because I never know exactly how I want to do them. So for me, it just works to, you know, put them on regular paper and then back them when I'm ready. I mean, usually I want tags on something thicker, but then there's also other things on those pages that I don't want thicker, so that's the method to the madness. And you don't have to do 3 levels, you could do 2. That's just what I choose to do, especially when they're going in and out of longer pockets like that, because they tend to want to bend if they're not very long. So, but you do you, boo. And that one didn't take me quite as long. And you can add other stuff to these, which we may do here. Just wanted to get the gist of the pockets. This is just a craft along with me kind of day, which I guess a lot of them are, aren't they? Okay, that one's going to go in there. How far? Oh yeah, that's perfect for in there. Okay, so then a little something smaller. Could I make something smaller? I like that one. I could probably make that one smaller. I mean, it's even bigger than this one. Let's see what else there is. It's like I go through all these and I don't remember always what what's there. I think that was all of those. So I think I'm just going to choose to make this one smaller. It might cut off some of the architecture, but just get the girl. And when I printed these, I printed them wrong and cut off those tags. So if you print like a shrink to fit or that type of thing, or fit page, or there's all different ways that the printers say that. But anyways, then you'll get a better, you know, you won't get the edges cut off. I just am dopey sometimes and I do it wrong because I forget the different size paper that they have in the UK versus here. Well, I'm going to cut it smaller anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Back it first. Let's go ahead and back it with this too. I really like the Tickled Pink and the gray digi that she came out with. That they go really well, all 3 of those kits together. Oh, we're going to cut it smaller, huh? So just cut up the side here, and then I'll get my cutter. I'm going to just use, I guess I'll use my big one. So if you don't like the cutter, you can fast forward here. Let's see if I can get semi-straight edge here, probably not very well. And we're going to cut it down. I think I can go about there probably. Let's do the top a bit shorter. Sorry, I'm just trying to think if that will work or not. It might have to be a little bit shorter still, because she's going to come way out. That really is far enough. Yeah, we're going to have to cut off some more at the top. Well, she gets to poke way out, I guess, because I don't really want to cut off any more of her dress or anything like that. So that's going to be the way that tag is. And it's not going to have a hole in it either. So it's going to be a different kind of tag, because it'll punch a hole right in her head. So I'm not going to worry. I was going to try to do the top the same as the ones Allie does, but since we're not going to put a hole in it, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll probably add some lace or something to this stuff. Just want to get the base done. Okay, there's that one. And then we need something to go in that little pocket. Oh, I had that little, where did that go? This petty cash. And I don't know, does that fit directly in there? Yes, it would. I kind of want it on a skew a little bit, but I don't know how that would work. Nope, that kind of come off of there. That might, but it won't. What do I want that on? Can you guys tell me? Could almost make like a journaling card that's a touch bigger so that that'll stick out up at the top. So how much bigger? It's just tea-dyed paper from Melody at Willoughby House on Etsy. Had another thought. Instead of cutting that off, I think I'm going to make like a double. And I get this idea from Carol Laws. Hi, Carol. Here on YouTube, she does these cards where she, you know, does an extra little layer of paper there, but I want to make sure it's straight before I get too excited here. That's about the same. And then how wide? Sorry, that was just a tangent. You guys are probably used to it by now, but if you've been with me for a while. If you're new to me, you're probably like, wow, she's all over the place. Unfortunately, that's kind of normal. Okay, that goes there. So then I think I'll turn it this way. Maybe I will leave it this way, because then when it slides in and out of the pocket, it's not going to keep catching. So then I'm going to kind of put it at an angle. Let's move this out of the way for a minute, so you guys can actually see what in the world I'm doing. And I can't remember what I did to this. I think it was just ink. I think that was Tim Holtz ink on there. His, you know, ink refill things to re-ink your ink pads. Can you say ink a few more times? I want it a little like that kind of thing so that it can maybe stick out of the top of the envelope a little bit. If that makes any sense. Let's see if we got something to put on there. These would be. Some of these are huge, but I just want part of it, I think. I don't think it's that one that I want. I want that smaller one right there. Well, the flowers are smaller. I don't know that the thing itself is smaller. Oh, there's the yellow one. There we go. That, or I don't think the yellow ones. I think I like those pink ones. Let's do that. Set these out of the way in my mess. Let's get this glued. I'm just going to put some glue across here for the doily. I'm going to have to kind of try to make it pull, you know, all the way across. And this one can go kind of like that. I think I'll use this because I'm going to squish that corner a little. Yeah, I got this like super full and now it's like, oh, come on. Oh, and somebody was asking about this again. This is just the pin that comes with this top of the art glitter glue, and these little green things are knitting needle caps, so you don't get poked with the knitting needle. And I got these ones at Michael's, but I think you can get them at Hobby Lobby and pretty much wherever you can get knitting stuff. And those are the small size because there's different sizes, and they are different colors, of course. Different companies make them or whatever, but so that makes it a little bit confusing. But because I know Gayla's got like pink and blue ones on her channel that she uses, but yeah, those are the ones I found those at Michael's, and it just helps me not lose that pin because when I really get a mess going, I always lose my pin and everything else. So scissors, rulers. I'm trying to be better about it. I'm trying to keep like clean up every day after I finish, but some days, you know, it's just you get something else going on and you got to go and you just want to leave your stuff so that you can work on it again, and you know how it is. So sometimes it gets wild. Like after Christmas it was pretty wild, but yeah, I'm trying to be better about that, especially because like my family's using this room too for making stuff, and so I don't want it to be a pigsty all the time for them. You know, I have anywhere to set anything down or do anything, so I'm trying to be better about that. Okay, so I want to get kind of as much of this as I can get because I like it. So I'll do something like that, and then I'll just trim off the extra. I suppose I could continue it onto here. That'd be kind of cool. I'll have to ink this. And then I can just trim this part off. Okay. There, so then you have that and a little more room, you know, a little more writing room than you would on that itty bitty card otherwise. So that will go in there, and that stuff will kind of pop out a little bit like that. And then maybe something right there. She's got a little image, that French arch, I don't remember what it's called, I apologize for that. Let's see. I've got a mess going now, I'll tell you. Okay, let's see if I can find anything to put on there. Good, if I found not fairies. Anything here? I went through this the other day, but I don't even remember totally what's in here. So I apologize. It's a mess. This, like I said, was from when I was doing my color challenge. And I kind of feel like that's just too many flowers. If there is such a thing. But I was doing my color challenge, and so I would print stuff out and just throw it in this. I would probably just cover that too much. This is a different time period, but I like it. I love those. Could use one of those. Those are from my, I can't remember, 17th or 18th century coloring book. I had to change it because I did the wrong century, so ever since then I can't ever remember which one's right. So it's on my Etsy, and they're big pages that you can color, and then there's also the tags and tickets in there. I kind of like these birds. Maybe I'll put those birds. Sorry I'm not more organized today as far as what exactly I want to do. I mean, like, I got my pocket together, and that's kind of as far as I got. And often, even when I have a plan, it doesn't stay the same. Because I get off on a tangent, and there I go, so. Yeah, I think I'll do that, and then maybe a little piece of lace or something with it. It needs another piece of something. Sorry, I have all my junky bags full of stuff. Book page. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then I need to figure out, I kind of, like I said, I kind of want like a little piece of lace or something with that. Oh, I know what I was thinking originally. Got these, and they're all a tangled up mess at the moment. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Those little flowers. These are from Peggy. Thank you, Peggy. I do really try to remember, but sometimes I do forget stuff because, you know, I put like all my trims together in one place, and, you know, cards and paper and whatever. You understand what I'm saying. And so sometimes I can't remember everything, but I try because I do appreciate it. Oh, I needed to go up higher. Darn it. Oh, it's there now. It's there forevermore. Let's see, can I tear a little bit more of this off? That was not good planning on my part. That'll work. Could use glue stick for this, but this is open right here, so I'm just going to use it. Okay, our little flowers. I don't think it matters which side, really. Those are cute. I love little birdies. Okay. Alrighty, so I think that's a video. What was I gonna say? I don't know. I am gonna add, you know, stuff to this, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done, obviously. But those are not that felt of those flowers are kind of felt. It just sucked that glue right up. I need to probably use Fabri-Tac, and I don't do Fabri-Tac. I can't stand the way it feels. I've had people ask me, and I'm sure a lot of you are like, yeah, we know, but there's a lot of people that say, why don't you use Fabri-Tac? Because I can't stand it on my hands. I can't touch anything if I've got it on my hands, and as you know, that's what I do. I keep working with sticky fingers, so... Alright, I'm just going to let that alone. So we have a little pocket here, and then this one I think I might fold down this page. I don't know yet. I need to figure that out. But anyway, that's where we're at as of now. I hope you guys like this. I hope it helps you, especially if you're new, just because, you know, it's nice to see that, you know, this is a pretty easy thing to do. Just don't use too much glue. That's really, honestly, my best advice is just around the edges, and then hopefully your page will stay nice and flat and not have a lot of warping. All right, so have an awesome day. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you to all of you who comment. I really do appreciate it. I like to answer comments and chat with you guys. So we will chat again soon. Love ya. Bye-bye now.